So welcome back to another rebuild here on NBA 2K25 Next Gen. In today's video, we are back with another weekly rebuild challenge, and today it's going to be the out of position rebuild. Now I want to give a big thank you to a user by the name of HamnerMan47. He was the one that I saw requested this challenge the most. There were certainly a few others as well, so thank you to everybody and anybody that did comment for me to do this challenge. Now this is one that I think I've done in the past maybe once or twice. I know many other 2K YouTubers have done it as well. It's pretty much as self-explanatory as it sounds, and we'll get into some more of the niche rules once we actually get into the gameplay. But real simple, we're going to do a fantasy draft pretty much as we always do for these challenges. I'll make the first 3 picks, let the CPU do the rest, and then basically we have to create a 10-man rotation with guys not playing their normal positions. I'm going to, again, show you a little bit more what I'm talking about once we get into the video, but I have a little extra stipulation I think is going to make this one just a little bit more challenging. As always, let me know any other rebuild ideas down below in the comment section, whether they are just one-off videos or series or really whatever it is you guys are looking to see moving forward. As we head into March, I'd love to hear it all. Let me know down below in the comment section. I've been getting a lot of really great video ideas along with series ideas lately, and really just want to give a big thank you to all of you. So excited for this one today, man. I cannot speak right now. I think it is going to be a fun one, and definitely, again, it's always a little bit more challenging than I think it initially is going to be. So let's get into it. Okay, we find ourselves here in the team selection period, as we always do for these fantasy drafts. Of course, I will go ahead and randomly select a team, so nobody thinks I am cheating in any way, shape, or form. Not that many of you do, but just so we're all on the same page. The eyes are closed. We are going to scroll through all 30 teams, hopefully land on one with a pretty good draft pick. We'll stop right about now. It's going to land me on the Detroit Pistons. They are our team here today. Whoops, did not select them. They are going to be our team here today. You can immediately see we are not in the top 10, and hopefully we get to the point. Okay, looks like we're picking at number 11, which is great. It's going to give us certainly some nice options, some nice flexibility. And my goal right now, I got to think about this one a little bit differently, because I'm going to explain to you some of the more, tedious rules of this challenge that I'm going to implement for myself, but I'll kind of give you, just the Spark Notes version of it real quick. I can't play a shooting guard at the point guard spot. I can't play a point guard at shooting guard. I can't play a center at power forward, and then vice versa. I have to move. The general rule is at least 2 positions. Now, there are some exceptions. If I want to play for God knows what reason a point guard at center, that's acceptable. Technically, it's only 1 if you're going in reverse order, but you guys probably understand the gist of that. So my goal is to find, a taller guard that maybe I could play at small forward or center or something like that. There are obviously some pretty elite players here on this list immediately. Obviously, LeBron James could pretty much play anywhere on a basketball court, but as the case was in my last fantasy draft rebuild, he pretty much retires after 1 year every single time. So I'm probably going to pass on that here today. Also got a guy like Steph Curry who could make a lot of sense. Now, do we want to play Steph Curry at the small forward spot? Because that would be the smallest position that we could legally allow ourselves to play him at. I don't know if I'm quite there yet. There's maybe an argument to play Cat at the 3. Again, this is not really going to be easy no matter which way you do it. So I think jumping out at me immediately is maybe a guy like Cade Cunningham. 6'6", could likely slide into the small forward spot just from a frame perspective. I think that could make some sense for me. Jaren Jackson Jr. at a minimum would have to play the shooting guard spot, so that probably doesn't make a lot of sense. I'm just trying to think about this in the most logistic way possible. I think Cade Cunningham makes the most sense here. I really do. Now, again, Steph, LeBron certainly are better players, even Donovan Mitchell, but, Mitchell's 6'3", Brunson 6'2". I don't really want a 7-foot small forward. So, you know what? I'm going to go with Cade. He's having a fantastic season right now. Again, we have to think about this a little bit differently than we normally would. So, Cade, in all likelihood, will be my starting small forward as we head into this video. Now, we do have 2 other picks. I'd like to find a taller small forward that I could logistically play at the center spot. That would be pretty cool. James Harden is sitting here. Could play Harden at the small forward spot. So also to note, I am going by their listed positions. I'm not, if Bam technically is a center, but he's listed as a power forward, I'm counting him as a power forward. I'm going off what 2K has them currently listed as. Zubats, Levine, Jamal Murray. Can't really play Murray at the 4 now, can I? Okay, well, this is certainly going to get a little challenging because we're not really in a great spot at the moment. I don't really love any of this. Now, Josh Hart could make some sense. I could, technically speaking, move Josh Hart to the 2 guard because he's listed as a power forward. Could also do the same with Michael Porter Jr., although he is 6'10". Oh, boy. Okay, I'm not really seeing anything here that I absolutely love. I don't really think any of these make a lot of sense for us. God, it's just, we're in such a tough spot right now with this goddamn challenge. I just had to add the extra layer, didn't I? Alex Sarr, Reza Shea, GG Jackson. Can I maybe argue to play GG Jackson at the center spot? I think there's an argument for it. Now, I'm not going to do it because I think we could get him in a later round. All right, I'm going to go ahead, and I think my pick is going to be Josh Hart. I think my goal will be to get Josh Hart at the shooting guard spot. And while I understand there's certainly a possibility he is there in the next round, I just kind of want to make sure I'm able to get the guy that I really want. So, yeah, again, probably not the best pick, but it is what we have to do here in today's video. So, Josh Hart, welcome to the squad. And then our final pick, again, we're really just kind of looking for a center at this point, somebody who is a little... Oh, this is big. I don't know how I didn't think of this. I think Lauri Markkanen makes a ton of sense. He's 7 feet tall. He's going to be listed as a small forward. Again, I understand his overall is going to shoot down, as is pretty much everybody in this rebuild, but I think Lauri Markkanen makes the most sense. At least he's tall enough, right? At 7 foot, I understand he might not weigh, what an average NBA center weighs, but as it stands, he's listed as a small forward. Obviously have the ability to play him at the center spot. So that's what we're going to do. That makes the most sense, and I think that is a really, really good value pick right there for obviously the goal of this video. So that's going to be it. That is my final pick. We will sim the rest of this draft. I'll see you guys with the full team. We now find ourselves at the beginning of the 2024-2025 NBA season. We, of course, went ahead and made 3 picks. You just saw that. Let's go ahead and see what the CPU did with the rest of this roster. We drafted Cunningham, Josh Hart, and Lauri Markkanen. Ooh, this could also be big because Dillon Brooks is listed as a power forward, so I could technically play him at the backup shooting guard spot. Shaedon Sharpe here, Cole Anthony, Donovan Clingan, KCP, Jordan Hawkins, Neemias Queta, Josh Richardson, Amir Coffey, Jet Howard, Kai Jones. Chuki, I want to give the CPU a little credit right now. They did a pretty good job drafting me some young talent. Now, will we be able to use all that young talent today? That, of course, is still very much to be determined, and I would not be surprised if this was a lengthy kind of preseason number 1, because we're definitely going to be having to make some trades, and we're certainly going to be moving around some positions as well. So I will manually set this. Like, I'm going to eventually get Cade Cunningham listed as a small forward. We're not going to do it for now, but what I will do is go ahead and get some trades done, and I'll see you guys with that first move. First trade of today's video is going to be a deal here with the Indiana Pacers. Donovan Clingan, Neemias Queta, and Amir Coffey all going over to Indiana. And in return, we're getting ourselves Denny Avdia and Luke Kornet. Now, as you can see, Avdia is listed as a shooting guard. We are going to opt to play him at the power forward spot. Again, we're going off 2K, listings, whether you want to count Avdia as a shooting guard, small forward, or power forward in real life. Doesn't really matter. We're going strictly off what 2K is kind of suggesting here. So I will let you know, I did go ahead and move around some positions. It was really only for the top 4 players. As you can see, Cunningham actually went up 1 overall. Josh Hart went up 2 overalls at shooting guard. And Lauri Markkanen actually went up 1 overall at center, which was a surprise. And then Dillon Brooks, I believe, only went down 1 when you moved him to the shooting guard spot. Of course, he started out this video listed as a power forward. So, of course, this is now allowed. So we're going to move Avdia to the power forward spot. Technically stays at the same exact overall as he was at shooting guard. And I think right now we're in a pretty good spot in terms of our starting 5. Definitely have to figure out a point guard, but we're good here at shooting guard. It's going to be Hart and Brooks. Small forward is going to be Cunningham. We'll sort out a backup. Obviously, just acquired Avdia, and then again, Markkanen going up. That was just really the steal of the draft for me, getting a guy like Lauri Markkanen. So that is 1 trade down. I definitely have some more to go. I think this trade right here could end up benefiting us quite a bit. Now, Azar Thompson is listed as a small forward. I know maybe, technically speaking, Amen would be closer to a point guard than Azar is, but I think there's something there. I think this is actually one of the better options we could have in terms of an out-of-position point guard. Now, of course, we have the rules set in place. I can't use a shooting guard. We can't just bump him down 1. Well, that might be a little bit easier. We kind of found an alternate solution here with Thompson. So I think it's pretty fair, and to assume that his overall will shoot down. We've gotten pretty lucky in terms of moving guys out of their regular positions and having their overalls be relatively similar. Azar is going to go down to a 76 overall at the point guard spot, but based on his athleticism, based on how I do think he's going to end up developing for me, I think that's about as good as it's going to get here, honestly. So I'll take it. Again, not done with trades, but I think that's a really big move. What else I'm going to do here is I'm going to move Josh Richardson, who is currently listed as a point guard. We were drafting him as a point guard. We're going to move him to the small forward spot. He actually jumps up 4 overalls, which really surprised the hell out of me, but that's what we found ourselves with. And at this point, we are all set at shooting guard. Again, these 3 players all going to be flexible trade pieces. Small forward with Cunningham and Richardson will be all set. Do need to find ourselves a backup power forward and then center as well. So I think we've done a pretty good job so far. Actually, could I maybe move Kai Jones? Just curious, what happens to Kai Jones at small forward? I don't really need a backup small forward. Okay, he goes down way too much. Let's keep making trades. Speaking of the Thompson twins, I'd like to find a way to add Amen to this team as well. Could you imagine both of them being our point guards for this video? I think that'd be pretty special. Now, as you can see, Amen Thompson currently listed as a small forward, which means I could play him at the point guard spot. Now, again, his overall will shoot down, but I don't really think that's the worst worst thing in the world. Now, I'm offering up Jordan Hawkins and Keon Ellis kind of just in there to make the money work. Something about these videos that is good is that previously traded draft picks are off, which is obviously very, very helpful, but it definitely still going to have to give up some draft capital in order to potentially get a deal done here. So I'm just going to see what it's going to take. I'd be willing to give up 2 firsts because I do think Thompson could be my point guard for the rest. Oh, wow. Beautiful. Okay. Thank you very much. All right. Well, we now have the Thompson twins here. We're going to go ahead and move Amen Thompson to the point guard spot. Only goes down to an 83 overall. Certainly not the end of the world for us. And that point guard spot, very realistically could be set now for the rest of this video. So I'm super pumped about that. At this point, we are really just looking to find ourselves some backup big men. Again, that is much easier said than done. So for the power forward spot, we could either get a shooting guard or a point guard. And obviously for the center spot, we could get a point guard, shooting guard, or small forward. So we're going to try to keep working on some deals, but I think we've already done a pretty good job. I don't think this trade's going to end up working out very well for us. Ultimately, we've made a lot of really good deals so far, in my opinion, and this one might not end up being as successful as the last ones have. But Chris Murray is 6'8", and ultimately, we don't have a lot of tradable assets. I don't want to mortgage our future in terms of draft capital. So Chris Murray is going to come in, of course, listed as a small forward right now. We're going to move him to the backup center spot. So also getting a future first-round pick from the Clippers, I think is a pretty big win there for me. And again, I don't know what's going to happen to Murray's overall. Probably going to be in the low 70s, if not 60s, but yeah, he's a 71. I mean, it's not the worst thing I've ever seen. I don't necessarily love it, but again, we're kind of making do with what we have and making the best out of a really tough situation. So at this point, we're only really looking for a power forward. Again, that could be a point guard or a shooting guard, and we are certainly going to look for a tall backcourt member right now. Okay. Gave up 2 future draft picks, but I think it's worth it. I needed a tall guard in some way, shape, or form. Josh Giddey is obviously going to be that for us. Now, KCP, Jordan Hawkins, 2 future firsts and 2 future seconds is a lot. I totally understand it, especially for a backup. But Giddey could be a long-term piece for us, whether it's at small forward or power forward. He's currently listed as a point guard, which I think is going to be a really, really big benefit for us for the rest of this video. Now, like everybody else, I know his overall is going to shoot down a lot. Actually, he goes up, technically. He's listed as an 81 at point guard, and he's an 82 at power forward. So, yeah, you know what? I think this could do something for me. Now, at this point, we're all set. Thompson twins going to be there. Hart and Brooks. We have Cunningham and Richardson. It's going to be Giddey and Avdia, and then finally Markkanen and Murray. I'm not going to keep Trendon Watford on this roster. Obviously, he wasn't going to be in the rotation anyways, but if there's any way I can just kind of get back a draft pick, because of course we've given up quite a few throughout the progression of this rebuild, yeah, I wouldn't mind that. But nope, nobody wants to give me a draft pick. Sweet, I'm not giving up another draft pick. So, yeah, Trendon Watford. Carlo, 6'10". I'm just looking for somebody who's on a multi-year contract. Tice actually low-key could play small forward. I'm not saying I'd recommend it, but I'm just saying it's a possibility. Goes down to a 73. Not the end of the world. He's just a multi-year deal, so we'll be able to trade him in the offseason. All right, we're all set. Let's set the rotation. It is the start of year 1 here in Detroit. We went ahead and made a lot of moves. I know I said I didn't want to necessarily mortgage the future, but we ended up kind of doing so anyways. Now, I don't want to, disparage myself too much because we put together a really, really talented team and we haven't even had an offseason yet. So I'm not saying we're winning a championship right now, but I think we're in a really good spot to kind of see how things go as we do end up progressing. So Amen Thompson going to be my starting point guard. Of course, started out listed as a small forward. Josh Hart here at the 2 started out as a power forward. Cunningham at the 3 started out as a point guard. Again, I know none of you probably care and you probably already know this, but I'm just trying to, explain in case you missed something. Avdia here at the 4 started out as a 2 guard, and then Markkanen started out as a 3. He'll be my starting center. Bench unit will be led by Dylan Brooks, started as a 4, is now a 2. Giddey started out as a 1 and is now a 4. You have Azar Thompson, who started out as a 3 and is now a 1. Josh Richardson started out as a 1, now a 3. And Chris Murray, who started out as a 3, is now a 5. So, yeah, that's the rotation. Again, I won't do that annoying little thing every single time, but just for year 1, wanted to make sure we're all on the same page. And, of course, JB Bickerstaff, who's the head coach of the Pistons in real life, will be our head coach here as well. So, I'm excited. I'm a little nervous, but we should have a very interesting first season here in Detroit. In my opinion, we had a wildly successful first season here. We went 59-23. Now, that's not, 70-plus wins, breaking the record and everything like that, but for year 1 of a fantasy draft, when the league tends to balance out a little bit, I will 1,000% take that. Now, I also want to just mention something. I wanted to, thank all of you, because in last week's Rebuild Challenge, I asked you guys if anybody had ever experienced, if you've done a fantasy draft here in 2K25, Does the first year take long as hell to sim? I'm sat here for like 14 minutes and it took forever to sim. So I'm not going to keep beating a dead horse, but thank you for all, just confirming for me I'm not losing my fucking mind. Now, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, he's a member of the Miami Heat, ends up winning MVP. Rob Dillingham over there in Charlotte is your Rookie of the Year. You got TJ McConnell coming off the bench in Orlando. Victor Wembanyama, the member of the New Orleans Pelicans. You got Amen Thompson, our very own, wins Most Improved as our starting point guard. Devin Booker, Clutch Player of the Year. Then Chris Finch, Coach of the Year over there in Minnesota. So I don't know where we are in the standings. We are the 1 seed. Really, really good news. We're going to be facing a play-in team. I'm not sure who that play-in team is yet, but we were tied for the second best record in all of basketball. Now, I am very interested to see what these numbers look like. Ordinarily speaking, if this was a normal, rebuild and Cade Cunningham was starting at the point guard spot, would likely lead us in assists. If that's still the case, I don't really know. Let's check it out, though. Points per game is going to be Cade Cunningham. About 24 points a game. Lauri Markkanen at our center spot. It's almost crazy seeing a center only grab 5 boards a game, but that's neither here nor there. Yeah, when your point guard's out-rebounding your center, probably not a great sign. Denny Avdia, Josh Giddey, Josh Hart, Dylan Brooks, Azar Thompson, Josh Richardson, Chris Murray. Now, led in boards, as I mentioned, it's actually going to be Josh Hart, our shooting guard, leading us in rebounds. Again, he listed as a power forward, and then also leading us in assists there. So, round 1 of the playoffs. We're going to be taking on the Boston Celtics. Let's see their team. You got Markelle Fultz, ended up with Derek White. Klay Thompson, you got Chet Holmgren here, Gafford, Herb Jones, PJ Washington, Bub Carrington. Pretty good depth there in Boston. I think we're a better team. I'm not going to lie to you. Quick 2-0 lead for us here. Make that a 3-0 lead. They do take home game 4. We win the series in 5. Now we're moving on to the Chicago Bulls. Jalen Brunson, Andrew Nembhard, Jeremy Grant, Scotty Barnes. You got Rudy Gobert here, Sexton, Kelly Oubre, Malcolm Brogdon. That is a pretty solid bench unit there for the Bulls, if I do say so myself. Now, we split the first 2. We also win game 3, lose game 4, go down 3-2, get bounced in 6. Wow, disappointing ending to a really promising first season here. Okay. Marketing, yeah, just 3.5 rebounds a game for our center. Again, there are probably other small forwards that would, rebound the ball more. But from a size frame perspective, Marketing is as good as it's going to get at the center spot. Cade Cunningham, not bad. Yeah, Amen Thompson, I kind of get it, but I need a little bit more, We have a lot of really good defensive players, I'll give us that. We need a little bit more offensively, I would say. So, again, we'll get to it at some point. James Harden, Western Conference Finals MVP. Brandon Ingram, going to be the Eastern Conference Finals MVP. Not what you normally see here in year 1 of fantasy drafts. New York gets it done. Oh, they had a guy by the name of LeBron James. Yeah, he wins Finals MVP. Also going to end up calling a career. You also have Chris Paul here. Oh, my God. Okay, it is time for the first offseason. I'm not really sure how many major moves there will be. We were a really good team. We were also a pretty young team, so maybe another year of development does it, maybe it doesn't, but we'll end up seeing what we want to do. I think I'm going to hang on to JB Bickerstaff. Doesn't have the best ratings in the world, but you know what? We had a really good season, and if we have a early playoff exit again, maybe we'll reassess next year. Oh shit! I did not realize our 2 first-round picks were in this year's draft. Okay, well that could be a problem. I'm actually going to trade both of them because I really would like to have some future trade assets. Thank you very much, Philadelphia. Again, I understand that these picks are both, okay trade assets, but I need something for the future here. Nothing, really. Nothing in the first round. Great. All right, let me just see now, just curious. Sometimes if you trade it in the draft, it's a little better. Update, it's not. All right, what we're going to do is we'll draft somebody here, and then at worst, we'll end up trading him maybe for a draft pick. So Thomas Sobers, I don't know anything about him. Johnny Broom, Bogdan Markovic. Okay. I'm trying to find somebody whose, size frame makes sense. Like JT Toppin. I've drafted Rocky Zakarsky in the past. Ooh, Miles Bird. Now, this is a decision because obviously whoever I draft is going to be listed at their naturals position. I'm going to have to move them if they want to be in the rotation. So somebody like a Miles Bird, who is listed as a shooting guard but is 6'7", could logically be a power forward for me. But I think there's also a world out there where I draft maybe the top-rated prospect, a Thomas Sombers, and I go ahead and maybe go, find a trade for him. So I think I'm going to do that. I think that makes a little bit more sense. We have some pretty okay depth right now. I'm not super worried about it. He's going to be a 73 overall. Everybody here is going to be brought back. Qualifying offers certainly would like to extend Josh Giddey. And I don't know if we have any other major free agents. I don't really think we do. So we're just going to pay Josh Giddey. We had Javon Carter. Obviously, the simulation's going to have to go ahead and sign some, salary fillers for me and some bench pieces. But they didn't play anyways. Not that big of a deal. Okay, at this point, I think there's a couple upgrades we can make. Of course, we don't have a lot of draft picks. We have one tradable first right now. But we have some young players, and I do think there is a move out there. We're swinging a deal here with the Los Angeles Clippers. This is one of those that kills two birds with one stone. Ultimately, it was pretty cool to see Josh Richardson go up a couple overalls when we moved into the small forward spot, but at age 31 on an expiring deal, probably not a long-term option for us. We're also including Thomas Sombers, who of course we just drafted in this deal as well with the Los Angeles Clippers. That's going to net us Keontae George and another future first-round draft pick, which is very needed at this point. So we're going to actually slide George into the backup small forward spot, of course listed by 2K as a point guard, and yeah, you know what? I think that's a pretty good move for us. Again, maybe a little undersized, but that's pretty much what you're always going to get at this point. 6'4", actually goes up in overall. Very, very funny how that ends up working out for us. So him and Cade will be my new two small forwards. I think I'd like to do something with the power forward spot. Now, again, the only options at power forward are point guard or shooting guard, so I am relatively limited just because there's not a lot of taller players than Avdia and Josh Giddey, but we'll assess that and see if there's anything out there. And then I also wouldn't mind trying to find some sort of backup here at the center spot that's just a little bit better than Chris Murray. No disrespect to Chris Murray. So let's see what we can do. We're going to be making a free agent signing here, and I think this is one that is actually going to benefit us quite a bit because Delano Banton is 6'8", and he is listed by 2K as a point guard. I don't know where I'm going to play him, but I will find a spot to move him to because I haven't been having a lot of luck in the trade finder or really just by any means necessary. So I don't know what I'm going to do with Banton. You know, he goes up and continues to go up. Now he's a 77 overall power forward. I'm kind of all set at the small forward spot because we have Cunningham, we have George. So I think playing Banton at the power forward spot is what we're going to do. Now, this does leave me some options. I could either move Avdia or Giddey in a deal and hope to find myself a new better backup center, but I also could maybe just move Avdia to the center spot where he doesn't really move in the overall department at all. I think that's actually probably the best move we could have made there. So here's what we're looking at heading in to year number 2. I'm losing my goddamn mind right now. I think we're in a pretty good spot. I expect to see a little bit of regression out of Josh Hart, maybe Dylan Brooks just because 30 and closing in on 30, but I think it should be good. So what I'm going to look to do right now is acquire a bit more draft capital for a guy like Daniel Tice. Thank you very much, Cleveland. And then maybe we just kind of run this thing. That's not my team. I think Chris Murray, could be dealt. I don't need to deal him, but, if there's a move out there, I'll probably end up taking it. Thank you very, very much, New York. Okay. This is going to be it heading into year number 2. There wasn't anything super major about the moves we made, but I think we did upgrade this bench a little bit, and hopefully we're at a spot where we can once again compete for a championship. It is the second season here in Detroit. Now, this offseason, as we just discussed, we didn't make a lot of blockbuster moves, but I think we rounded out this team just a little bit better. Now, the starting 5 going to relatively remain exactly the same with Thompson, Hart, Cunningham. Of course, the new addition is Josh Giddey. He was just coming off the bench last year. He's now going to be our starting power forward. And then finally, Lauri Markkanen, who, by the way, the game actually does not suggest I start. If I auto-set this rotation, it'll tell me to start Denny Avdia, which I'm not going to do, but you know what? It's just interesting. This game does not like Lauri Markkanen. Dylan Brooks is going to be my backup shooting guard off the bench. Keontae George, my backup small forward. Avdia, as of course, my backup center. Azar Thompson, point guard. And then finally, we signed Delano Banton to be a backup power forward for us. So, are we good enough to win a championship? I'd like to think so. I don't know that for a fact, but I think we are slowly but surely getting there. Hopefully another really good season here in Detroit. Little deja vu in the MVP department. SGA gets number 2 of this video. More importantly, though, we go 68-14. Are we the favorites? Could we be the favorites? I don't know. Cooper Flagg went number 1 overall to the Rockets. He wins Rookie of the Year. Cam Thomas, also a member of the Miami Heat, is your 6th man. Wemby wins a second straight DPOY. Dalton Connect, most improved. SGA also wins Clutch Player of the Year. And our guy, Mr. JB Bickerstaff, taking home Coach of the Year. So, pretty good sign that we had the best record in the league. Of course, the 1 seed here in the East, and it was the best record in all of basketball. We'll dive into the numbers real quick. Let's see how everything looked. Cade Cunningham, once again, leading the charge in the scoring department. Josh Giddey, our second option. Lauri Markkanen, not bad. Amen Thompson, Keontae George, Josh Hart, Avdia, Banton, Brooks, and then Thompson as well. Led in rebounds by our point guard. Led in assists by our small forward. Interesting world we got out there. All right, man. Round 1 of the playoffs. Going to be us and the Celtics once again. Ty Jerome, Derek White, Sadiq Bey, Chet Holmgren developing nicely, Daniel Gafford, Herb Jones, Bub Carrington, PJ Washington. Again, they're a pretty good team. I just think we're so much better. Okay, 2K. Don't do this to me today. I'm not in the mood. Thank you. Moving on to the East semis here. It is us and the Chicago Bulls. Is this the team that beat us last year? I think, yeah, no, the Bulls beat us last year, didn't they? Okay, once again, same matchup for the second straight round, second straight year. This time we go up 3-0, though, and we sweep them. Okay, now it is time for the Miami Heat, who obviously have the MVP in Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. I don't really know why, all due respect to Keon Ellis. Cam Thomas is coming off the bench for him, but he is. And you know what? This is a pretty good team. Obviously have some talented players, and they have the best player in the series. I'm not denying that. We are 2-2. Big Game 5 coming up, which we win. Can we go to the finals here in year 2? Not yet. We do. Anthony Davis and the Minnesota Timberwolves, they are going to be our opponent here. Jalen Suggs, Nick Smith, Jalen Tyson, AD, got Mark Williams, Jordan Poole, Clint. Oh my God, how many big men do you need? All right, it is time for the finals. We take game 1. They take game 2. We go up 2-1, up 3-1, and can we head back to Detroit and close them out on our home floor? Not a great start. Fight back. Have some balls. Do not want this series going back to Minnesota. Oh my God. What are we doing here, man? We got to fight. We got to fight a little bit better than that. All right, well, we are now here in Minnesota. Can we get this done and close out the Timberwolves on their home floor? This is a heavy defensive battle. These are like halftime scores in today's NBA. All right, man, heading into the fourth quarter here. I will see you guys in there. I'll let you know right now that I've done a lot of dumb shit in this game. If I blow a 12-point lead in under 3 minutes, I'm going to probably retire. I'm going to also let you know right now that I want to, one, get the starters in, and also that this is probably the final year for a couple reasons. If I'm being honest with you, I probably wasn't making any other moves this offseason. Anything that would have been significant anyways. I would have maybe changed like one backup, and ultimately, I don't know how long this video is, but I've been recording for over an hour, and we're only in year 2. So the challenge has been completed. I don't know if people are pissy about that, but there wasn't, again, going to be any real major changes heading into the final season here. So hopefully that's okay with y'all. I know it's, normally 3-year rebuilds on this channel, but when we succeed in year 2, I'm pretty much okay with getting it done here in year 2. So Thompson, I don't actually know. Which Thompson twin is this? I genuinely do not know. Let's get a screen here. Neither of them are really great shooters, and gets the foul called. Is it a men? I don't know. Is it a men? Is it a czar? I think that's a czar. I think. Your guess is as good as mine. Oh, it's a men. Okay, men Thompson to the free throw line. First one is up. Little early on the release. We end up bricking it, but we got a 14-point lead right now. Gonna put Josh Giddey back in the game. This is a fun challenge. Although the suggestions in my comment section weren't, saying to do the buffer, the 2-bump, if you will, I think it made it a little bit more challenging. I certainly think it made it a little bit more hard because, I'm not trying to pump my own tires here, but if I was allowed to move a point guard to shooting guard or a shooting guard to point guard and power forward to center, vice versa, you get the point. This would not have been a super challenging rebuild. I mean, I move guys out of one position every single time. So I hope you guys were all cool with me making this one a little bit more hard. Obviously, it made me think a little bit more, and obviously I had to look for some different moves, and we obviously got pretty lucky as well, right? I mean, the 2K CPU did a pretty good job drafting. We hit on a lot of big trades before we even simulated a single game. So this one was fun, though, and I really do like the hard challenges because I know you guys definitely enjoy them as well, and I'm excited to kind of keep these going on a week-to-week basis. So we're going to do one more offensive possession. I mean, a 13-point game with a minute 20, hypothetically speaking, should be, kind of over. I actually want to try to get Cade the ball. He is actually should be the primary ball handler on this team, and we're going to call it a series right here. Good night. We won it all. We won it all here in year 2, and Cade Cunningham, our small forward, is going to be your finals MVP. This one was fun. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I'm sorry if you guys wanted to see a third year. I certainly could have done it, but when I complete the challenge, and I know for almost a fact I'm not making any other moves, I don't really think anybody is going to be super upset by it. But real big thank you to all of you who did comment this. I know it was more than one person, and it's a challenge that I've seen suggested for a while. So I'm happy I got around to it, and I'm happy that we succeeded with it because not as easy as I thought it was going to be. Obviously, I made it a little bit more difficult on myself, but nonetheless, super fun video, and I hope you guys did enjoy. So let me know any other rebuild ideas down below in the comment section, challenges, series, whatever it may be. Love to hear from you guys down there. I know this video has been long enough, so let's wrap it up. That'll do it for me, man. As always, thanks so much for watching. I love you guys. I'll catch you guys all in the next one.